Next one's going to be a name that everybody should have on the tip of their lips, and that's going to be Mr. Curtis Mead. Curtis Mead is 6 foot tall, 171 pounds. He is age 23 with the Tampa Bay Rays. He has debuted in a shocker this year, but throughout the 2023 season, he didn't have many, or I'm sorry, he did have quite a few at bats in AAA, and I'm going to run through the AAA level. He went 235 at bats. He had 69 hits, 294 average, 385 on base, slugged 515 with an on base plus slugging at AAA. The point that we like to see, anything over 9, he was perfectly at 9. He had 9 home runs and 4 stolen bases, strikeouts 48, walks 35. We all love Curtis Mead, right? We love Curtis Mead. Who's breaking it down for me?
All right.
Go ahead, Doc. Let's hear
Yeah,
let's hear your take on Curtis
So
Mead.
I'm going to say a couple of things right now. First of all, so cool that we have an Australian prospect. You know, that's very unusual. I hope he succeeds, because who knows? Maybe he's like an Australian Otani kind of guy who brings in this extra audience. I want to see baseball worldwide. That World Baseball Classic this summer was amazing, and of course the numbers pop out. I kind of forget that he's only 22. He seems, for some reason, he seems like he's more mature. Maybe it's something about his approach. There's there's 2 red flags for me, which are one, they compound each other. One, he's with the Tampa Bay Rays, and which is actually a great thing for development. But 2, he is a short side platoon risk. He's better against lefties than righties. And if anyone's gonna mess around with that, it's the Rays. 22 years old. And it's not like he's has disgusting stats, like terrible stats, against righties or anything like that. It's not the biggest concern. But I mean, in 2022 in the minors, his batting average against righties was 262, which isn't fantastic. In the minor leagues, AA and AAA. That said, I think there's, on the flip side of that, the Rays know how to develop prospects. This is not a bad organization, and the future. Like I said, I hope the future's bright. And Ross and I are Ross probably has a couple things to add on this, because we own him now. I inherited a team. I'm splitting a team with Ross in this dynasty league, and nice. I'm like, maybe we move Mead. He says, I don't know, let's not sell him too cheap, and I'm certainly wouldn't want to.
So, I guess I'll share my take on Mead, because we have polarizing views here. First of all, Mead has been a scout the stat line guy since early on. He's a guy that we pinpointed early, so I've always kind of been a fan of him because of that. And there's something that I've always appreciated about the way he plays the game. Now, that said, he had a bad season this year, and I acknowledge that compared to, I think, the trajectory he was on. But he was dealing with some injuries this year. He had some problems. He did make his debut in the major leagues, so there was some promise here. I will say this: the Rays opted to trade Manzardo and keep Mead, and that tells me something. I think they want Mead on the team. And while I hear what you're saying about the platoon risk, I think the vast majority of his plate appearances come from the right side anyway. So he's a competent hitter there. And I think, if anything, he's just a strong lefty hitter, and that's a good thing. You want that in your hitters, because you don't see that very often. So I'm a fan. I think there's 20 to 30 home run power potential within Mead with pretty solid batting average. He's not going to be a huge on-base guy, but he's got such a solid all-around approach, it's hard to see him failing. So I think he's an interesting play even for 2024. And then down the road, he could be a pretty good player. I don't know that he's going to be a superstar by any means, but a potential occasional all-star, I can see that.
I think you raise a good point. I mean, something that I really shouldn't have glossed over so quickly was, so yeah, he's just 22, and where did he end up last year? The major leagues. And not just for some rebuilding franchise. This is a team that's going for it all. So absolutely, the Tampa Bay Rays They clearly see a bright future for him. It used to be not until this last season, basically, you didn't see a lot of 22-year-olds in the major leagues, period. So it's there's certainly tons of upside here. I like to poke a couple holes in the big name guys, just like a little caution, but there's a reason he's a big name guy at the end of the day.
I actually kind of view him as a buy low because he did have a down season that I think was injury-aided, and I was kind of championing that all year, that it's time to buy low on Curtis Mead. But I was also coming into the season expecting a really big season. He just didn't really get to showcase it because he was down with an injury for so long. So that's my take on it. I say buy low. I say go get Curtis Mead, but I think there's some fair points that you have to consider. And if he's still valued as a top 20 guy, then no way. I mean, forget about it.
You said a word there that I can't say that I've ever heard anybody say. Injurated. That's an interesting word.
That might have been the microphone cutting out on you. I don't think I said that. I didn't mean to say that anyway.
I'm sure it's a word. It sounds fantastic. Injurated by Curtis.
I like
Mead.
it.
Yeah.
Underrated because of an injury-affected year. Yeah. He's injured.
I think what I was trying to say was injury-aided.
Okay.
Aided by injury.
I'm going to keep it injurated because I really for me too. He's a go get him, but depending on your league, I think he's going to be expensive. I really do. Especially in a league that me and Ross play in all the time. Anybody that sees a 23-year-old being in the bigs already, that guy is going to be really expensive. So this is a tough one. With the prices right, go get him. But the price is going to be, I think it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough one.